can start now.
We can.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you're giving me the mic? You want to?
Sorry?
Are you giving me the mic? Do you want to do the intro?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, very, very welcome and nice to meet you all, everyone. So my name is Yann. I'm living in Tokyo right now. I've been in Japan for 12 years, something like that. I've been working as a software developer in like many different areas, not just the web. So now I'm like very web based, but I've been working in many different other areas of programming. It's really a field on like a very wide field on itself. And these days, since a good 3 years, I would say, I'm working as a teacher at the Wagon bootcamp. So it's this like web development and data science coding bootcamp where you can learn basically to be in like 9 intensive weeks or 6 like evening and Saturdays months to be a junior web developer or a junior data scientist. So that's what we do. And today's workshop will be basically the equivalent of one of these 45 days that we have during the bootcamp. Not exactly, but like quite close to that. That being said, let me share a little bit what we're gonna see today together. So if you have followed the link of the workshop, you should be able to see this one page that I have in front of me that you should all have on your computer as well. So this is our learn.thewagon.com, our learn platform, where you'll see all the content, all the resource, or even the slides and even the video of like this workshop that we'll have together. Let me show you like what you can see, what you can find actually on this platform. You have the lecture area where you have the slides of today. Just here, you have a video. If you don't like my face and you rather go for a even more French face, I'm French by the way. If you haven't like figured it out with the accent. So the video of this lecture here. We have a U-turn area, which will be the one that will interest you after the workshop. So here we'll basically like have a step-by-step challenge from number 1 to number 8, where you will like redo every step that I have been doing during this workshop, so that you build your own landing page. So building your landing page is something that is not, it doesn't like it's not something that you will do like very, very necessarily quickly. You will want to make it like beautiful. You want to find some nice features, some nice color, to find some like nice design that you can check out on the Slack message I sent you all on our JPC announcement channel, right? So I will let you like work on your landing page, on your landing pages after like this talk, basically. And what I would be really, really, really happy about is that you post what you did on our Slack, so that I can see a little bit all what you've done. And I'll be back for a second workshop, API workshop on Thursday. So maybe the first thing you could do on Thursday, if you're like motivated to build these pages, is to see a bit like what you've been building so far. So this is a U-turn, and in the U-turn, you see that we have like 8 steps. We're gonna do the 6 first together. I'll let you work on the 7th and the 9th, which will be like taking your website to be responsive, to be visible, very well displayed on a mobile phone, as well as publishing it on the internet, like basically publishing it on GitHub. We have a takeaway section, which is like basically having all the knowledge, all the concepts that we'll be talking about together today. And finally, a small thank you with your feedback, if you want to give it to us, and some more information about the Wagon in there. All right, I just wanted to make sure that everyone is on the platform before we start. Make sure that you have no trouble. I'm gonna check the chat as well, time to time, to make sure that you're all in here. Format-wise, what we're gonna do is that like I'm gonna go through the workshop, through the lecture, really. I'm gonna check time to time the chat. I'm not expecting you to code along at the same time as me, because I'll be like quite quick at some point. The idea for me will be to like give you as much as possible within the time frame. So I'll be a bit quick on that in that sense, right? But again, all the concepts that we would talk about are here, and really this U-turn section is bringing you like step by step into what I'm gonna show you today. All right, so far so good. Cool, great. I'm checking the chat again, so if you have anything, let me know in the chat. Great, so let's dig into it. So today, 2 hours to build our first website. So it will be like a static website, but really it's like the foundation for you to like go really further and build something much more complex, right? So the idea of today will be for us to build something that will look just like this web page on the left side here. See, like very simple again, but like quite responsive as well. Well done and trustable. The idea is that at the end of this workshop, you'll be able to like create these kind of pages for you, like if you want to like basically like create a product, like advertise about something on the web to be able to like build the actual static web page about it. And you'll see it's not that complicated really. Very cool. So let's go for it. And this is actually our website that we're gonna build. So first thing, I want to tell you how to build a static website, that's true, but I also want to tell you what is all around static websites. And somehow I want to also like give you a feeling of how the internet is actually working. Yeah, we're gonna talk about how the internet is working, and that's quite interesting, I think, because like we are using the internet every single day, and it's surprising how few people know about the internet. So when you're using the internet, when you're going for a website, you're basically doing what the slide are showing you here. You're entering a URL and you're pressing enter, right? And you get the results. Seems to be very simple, seems to be very magical. We can like try it together, Wagon.com, and I press enter and boom, I get after some seconds, the Wagon coming in, perfect, right? But there's many things that are actually happening while we're doing that. So what you need to know is that everything obviously starts from the client, which is your computer, right? On your computer, you have a beautiful, and it's not shown in here, a beautiful software that is called Google Chrome, right? Or any web browser that you have. And whenever you're actually writing a URL here and pressing enter, you're sending a message on the web. It's an encrypted message, right? Because we're using HTTPS. I don't know if I can show it. Oh, here you go, HTTPS, like secured. So we're sending an encrypted message to the web. But in the end of the day, it's really just like a text message with some data in it telling another computer somewhere else on the web, if it's the Wagon.com, it's probably somewhere in Paris, that is containing all the website, all the pages, the HTML, the CSS, the JavaScript, the images of the Wagon.com website that we want to enter. Okay, so we are sending a message to this server so that this server sends us back the HTML file, all the files that corresponds to whatever we are seeing here. So obviously there's an HTML page, there is an image, like this one is an image, right? That one is definitely an image as well. There are some colors, so we are talking about CSS file in here, another image in there, and so on and so forth. So really, like, the internet is not the two complex things in the end. It's just a place where computers can send each other messages and send each other files. So whenever you write the Wagon.com and press enter, you're sending an HTTP request, it's called. HTTP is like the language used, the protocol, so like kind of the language standard, I would say, of this message. that you're sending to a server, and the server is sending you back the index.html. And we are going to basically reproduce this today during the workshop. So yeah, that's where you see like the HTML actually showing up on Chrome. So obviously to build that, we need to build some HTML pages and CSS pages. We need to have some code, right? To see the website on Chrome at the end. So for that, we'll need a code editor. In the slides, they are talking about Sublime Text, but like nowadays, I really go for VS Code, which is much like, they just surpass it. So like they just overpassed like all the competition. They're really, really good. I really love it. There's so many like extensions that we can use on VS Code that are like making it amazing. Sublime Text is nice as well, though. We need a code editor, definitely. We need Chrome, right? Or Brave or Firefox or whatever web browser you need in order to see the page together. And we need a server. We need a place where we actually store on the web our index.html. In our case, we're going to use GitHub. GitHub will be the place where we host our website. And these will be the tools for today. So if I recap a little bit, we said Sublime Text or VS Code. We're going to go for VS Code really, which is our text editor. If you don't have it yet, I sent on the Zoom channel a link to code.visualstudio.com where you can actually download Visual Studio here. So do it right away. Right, we're going to use obviously a web browser, Google Chrome, or I'm going to use Brave personally. Hopefully it will work as well, right? And we'll use a hosting service to like store our website on the web, which will be GitHub in our case. Very nice. Last but not least, in order to build our website, we're going to start using a boilerplate. So what is a boilerplate exactly? Well, you have to know that when you're a web developer, you're never starting a website from scratch. You're always using a sort of structure that has been built for you by yourself or by some other developers, so that you can start like building content, you know, like building really like pages and not like having to build first like all the structure and the configuration and so on and so forth of your project. In our case, we're gonna download and use this boilerplate here. I already did it for you. I downloaded it on my computer. So if you know what, I'm gonna like close VS Code for a minute. I have the landing page master in here. This is the file that I downloaded. And what I'm doing actually is that I'm taking it and I'm like putting it on VS Code to open it with VS Code. And this is what I get here. So this boilerplate is very, very simple in the end. It's a folder called landing page master that has inside another folder called images with obviously 4 images in here. It has a git ignore that you can ignore, please, for the time being. It has an index.html and a CSS, which will be like the 2 files that we need to build our static web page here. All right, so fairly simple in the end, an HTML, a CSS, and some images inside our image folder in there. We're going to use this boilerplate in order to build our website. Great. Okay. So I told you about the 2 files that we were planning to build, HTML and CSS. We're gonna dig into what an HTML is. Like that will be really the foundation website, the foundation file of our website. But before that, I want to show you how to like see this website like on a web browser already, because the idea will be that we are going to change like whatever is written on our HTML here, and we will want to see those changes directly on our web browser. So to do so, like maybe the easiest way is to take your index.html from VS Code and drag and drop it inside inside Google Chrome. You can see that my hello exclamation mark 3 times is like showed in there, right? And if I change it to hello JPC exclamation mark, and if I refresh Command R or Control R if you're on a Windows computer, if I refresh my page in there, I can see hello JPC all over again. Okay. So one thing that I will want to write here in the body, just for you to have it somewhere, is that if you do log, so commands plus R or control plus R if your window, that will basically refresh the page, right, on the browser. So we're talking about on the browser here, right? Now, I would want to make you like very careful about that, because you can do also commands plus shift plus R and control plus shift plus R. And this will, what we call hard refresh your page. Sometimes, I'm gonna command that 2 lines out here so that you have them somewhere. Here we go. So sometimes like you've been changing something on your HTML, you're refreshing your browser, trying to refresh, but nothing happens. It means that the browser actually like already kind of memorized what you had in your page and think that you want to see this one page that it got like it memorized, it has in memory, what we call the cache. If it's the case, try Command Shift R to hard refresh to tell the browser, hey, this page is totally different. You're gonna have to refresh it from scratch, check like the actual original file and like show me the actual file on the browser. So just be careful about that. I'm gonna do it some like time to times, and it will help you during the challenges as well. All right. Small check on the chat. I see one chat. So cool, isn't it? Isn't it, Annie? Absolutely. And even cooler stuff will come hopefully very soon. Let's start with HTML basics. So really the basics, the most important foundation of a web page is the HTML. Why? Because it's where you put the content and the structure. So content is what? Content is everything that you see on a website, right? Here's a website, right? All the text, or let me go for the Wagon here. All the text, all the images, all the images again. If you have videos, all the sound, and so on and so forth are in the HTML. That's the place where they are. And HTML also like makes sure that this text and all this content is well structured, right? That the big title is considered as a big title, that the paragraph is considered as a paragraph, that we can understand where the buttons are, and so on and so forth. So really, like HTML is the most important. It's where the content and the structure is. If you have some troubles in your HTML, you will have some troubles in the step number 2, which is designing your page. The design of the page will be done in a CSS style sheet file. And we're gonna see that as a second part of this workshop. All right, let's jump on the HTML.
So Yann, I had a question.
Go ahead.
So, oh, sorry, one sec. So I've also known that JavaScript is used a lot in front-end web development, right? So
you're absolutely right.
The purpose of that, and how does it kind of connect with HTML and CSS?
That's a very good question. So if we come back to our website, you can see on this one website of the Wagon here, I'm not sure about it, but let's try that. If I click on learn more, oh, it's refreshing a page. It's a link. Too bad. Okay, let's try this one. If I click on community and tool, ooh, look at that. Do you see this beautiful? Oh, that's nice. Love it. This beautiful dynamic stuff here. When I click on any button here, it's something that is not about like the content, right? It's something that is not about the style. It's actually a dynamic behavior here. I'm clicking somewhere and something very dynamic happens on my website. This cannot be done with HTML and CSS. This is gonna be done with JavaScript. So JavaScript is here to like manage all the dynamic stuff, all the animations that you would have on your website. And it's extremely important, really. Like most of the front-end developers nowadays are not okay just learning HTML and CSS. They definitely need to know like JavaScript and to work. Most of the times they are working on JavaScript. All the developers that are building pages that you can see on the web. Good point, good question. So if we get back to like step number one, which is the HTML, let's talk a little bit about the basic syntax of an HTML file. So it's a markdown, it's a markup language, sorry, which means that everything actually is between those kind of tags here. Every HTML element, as we call them, looks like this, have what we call the start tag and an end tag. Difference between the start and the end is this slash here with some content inside. And the content inside here is the only thing that you see on the actual website, all right? I think that in this beautiful slide, I have some more examples. So I'm gonna like show everything and tell you a bit more about it. So see again here, a start tag, an end tag, the content in the middle, even some attributes with some values in case you want to configure, to customize a little bit this HTML element. And this is what you'll see everywhere on your HTML file. A good example is this one. So this one is a tag. Do you know what an A tag is, by any chance?
Link.
It's a link, right? It's like literally a link that you can click. This download syllabus, if I click on it, oh, that's JavaScript as well. Again, because I'm on the same page, right? But let me go for, let's say this course, web development full-time. If I click on it, send me to another page. So that was a link, that was an A tag, right? See that it's written web development full-time on it. So this is the content of this A tag. And when I click on this A tag, it is sending me to a certain website. And that website is decided, configured or customized, I would say, with the attribute href with the name of the website that you have on this A tag. So if I come back to my website here, see that if I hover over my web development full-time, if you check the bottom left of my browser, you can see what URL these A tags are sending me to. All right, there are really A tags in there. So obviously there's not just A tags on an HTML file, and we're gonna see a little bit every single HTML element that we see inside an HTML tag, HTML file, sorry. So everything starts with an HTML tag, which is the one that is containing everything about like your HTML file, namely actually two main things, the head and the body. So the body contains really everything. So everything that you can see here on this page, the logo, the wagon, this image, the title, web development course, and so on and so forth, are within the body. There's the page content. There's also the head. So if everything is in the body, what do you think I can find actually in the head here? Do you have an idea? So what I can find, actually, we're gonna zoom a bit on this head, are everything that can configure somehow our website. So here I have like 3 good examples of what you can find on the head. The first one is the title. So we have a title element here that we can have on the head. This title element is not about the main title of your page here. Why? Because remember, I told you that everything here was inside the body. Now the title here corresponds to the title of the tab of your website. It's not inside the page, so it's not the body, but it's very important for your website to be like to have a beautiful title whenever you go from tabs to tabs. Okay, this favicon here is also something you would find in the head. I don't have it here in the slides, but you can find how to add a favicon in your head. What I have in the slide though is our 2 very interesting meta tags. So meta tags are this piece of information that you don't see on a web page when you look at the web page just like that, but that are very important as well. The char set here, or char set, is defining what set of characters the browser will need to use in order to read your website. So I don't know if you have ever been to the web in the 90s, let's say, or like the year 2000s, where when you went to a Japanese website, let's say, like somehow your browser could not read like the Japanese kanjis, and like was putting a lot of question mark all over the page. You've probably seen that at least once. I mean, if you're in your 30s, I guess, because now the browser, I'm managing that way better. So the problem at that time was that those websites didn't have a defined char set, and the browser didn't know that on the website there was actually like characters that were a bit more special than like the English alphabet, basically. And that was like breaking like the display of the website. Hence, the very important fact of having this chart set in there, right? So really metadata are information we don't see on our page, but that are very, very important. Another very important meta tag is the meta tab description in there. So meta tab description, which has in its content a description of your website, together with the title, are actually used by Google whenever like you search a website on the internet. So as you can see here, I searched for the Wagon Tokyo on Google, and Google has a beautiful, well done like title for the Wagon Tokyo and a description. I can tell you that people that are working at Google are not calling us and asking us, hey, what kind of description do you want for your website on our search engine? They don't do that, obviously. What they do, though, is that they have a robot that is going to lewagon.com/Tokyo that is looking at the HTML. By the way, here I just opened a what we call the developer tool of Chrome. To do so, you can do Command-Shift-C, or more simply, right-click on the website and press on Inspect. In the element here, you'll see actually the HTML of this page. And you can see that in the head, I have the title, Coding Bootcamp Tokyo Wagon, description, join a full-time or part-time coding bootcamp in the Wagon Tokyo, and so on and so forth. If we recheck what we have on Google, unfortunately for this announcement here, for this ad here, it's not the same, which makes everything that I just said kind of not work, unfortunately. But the reason for this is that this ad is probably two reasons. Maybe because it's an ad is not taking the title and description. The second possible reason is that Google looked at our website when we had a different title, and now we changed our title. But I think that this French version here is very close to the English version that we have in there. So that might be the one that Google, a sign that Google is looking at our meta description. So bad example here, unfortunately, but I can tell you that having a good title and some good meta tags on your website are extremely important if you want your website to be seen well on Google, on Facebook, on Twitter, and so on and so forth. All right, so really I want to emphasize this thing in there. That being said, let's jump onto the most visible parts actually of our HTML page, which is the body. In the body, as I told you, you'll see everything that is actually visible on the page, right? Image, titles, and so on and so forth. But how do we build it? How do we build them in our HTML? Well, let's have a look at different HTML elements that we can add into our body. The first one is the headers. H1, H2, H3, H4. So really, these are the HTML elements in the body that will hold our titles. So H1 main title will be basically in this page, join our coding bootcamp in Tokyo. A good H2 example in this page would be this, our coding bootcamp in Tokyo. All right, that might be H3 in there. That might be another H2, and so on and so forth. So I have a rule of thumb for those for those headers here. Never use more than one H1. It's very strange for us humans, but also for Google and other search engine to see more than one H1 on our page, as well as like really don't go further than like an H3 on the page. Like a subtitle seems like too much of a hierarchy on a website. If you need to go more like, more subsection than an H3, the good way to do it is maybe to use like cards, basically. And here, as you can see, we have an H2. The H3s are already like part of a certain card, and inside we have like some more subsection of it. And these subsection are done like within the cards. And I think that's a quite good design here, right? If you had like a subtitle of a subtitle of a title of a title, that would feel a little bit like too much, I would say. H1 up to 4, even 5, 6, but again, like keep H1, H2, H3, that's like really like sufficient for titles. We also have P tags, paragraphs. So you want to build the paragraphs, you will put it inside a P tag. Inside this paragraph tag, we sometimes need to have a bunch of the text being bold, right? And you'll use a strong HTML elements for that, right? Around whatever you want to be bold. There is also italic, and for the italic, you will use EM, like emphasis, around your text in there. What else do we have? We have sometimes lists on our website. For a list, there are 2 types of HTML elements. The first one is UL with a lot of LIs inside. So UL is for unordered list. It's a dot list, basically. LI is for list item. So this code here is basically building a list with .bread, .milk, .butter. Whereas an ordered list, just like that one, will do the same thing, but the list item, we have some numbers in front of them. So number 1, France, number 2, Uruguay, number 3, Belgium. On the top of that, we can also have image tag, right? To add some images to our website, just like this beautiful image here of the crossing, right? So an image tag is a little bit special. It has a start tag, but it doesn't have an end tag. The image itself doesn't have any content. It's a content of itself. It's an image. But it has like 2 very important attributes. The first one is SRC, with the source of the image, so the path to the file of this image, and ALT, which stands for alternative with some text next to it. Do you know what this ALT is about?
Is it for accessibility?
I love it. It's my favorite reason for having an ALT on an image, accessibility. So actually there's 3 good reasons to have it. First thing is that if your image doesn't work, if it's broken, the alternative text will show up on your website explaining the people that can obviously don't see the image, what the image is about. The second reason for having a good alternative text is that search engines like Google are trying to understand your pictures to like reference them the right way on their website. So they're using the alternative text for that. And the last one, and the most important for me, I think, and you're very, very right, Tanway, is that some people are not experiencing the web the same way we do. Some people don't see, cannot see, and cannot obviously see the web just like we are seeing it here. And those people, a lot of people in the world are actually hearing websites. They're like having a voice, basically reading every single part of the website for them to understand what data, what content the website has. So obviously you cannot hear a photo unless you have the right alternative text. So this is a really, really good way for you to make sure, one of the many ways of web development, to make your website actually accessible by like as many people as possible. So very important second attribute here in our image. All right, so that was a lot of talk first, right? And there was a lot of HTML element also that we saw together. So instead of like going more into details and like going more into this rabbit hole of every HTML element that we can have on a website, let's actually take all this knowledge, which is already quite a good set of knowledge, in order to build our HTML content for our website. So remember, so far we have this hello JPC, which is nice, but not perfect, far from it, obviously. Our goal is to build these websites, and we're gonna start not with the style, obviously, but with the content of it. So I'll need your help here a little bit to kind of identify every single HTML elements that I have on this website. So don't hesitate to give me some voice here. I'm also checking the chat to tell me what each of these are HTML wise. Change your life, learn to code. What type of HTML element is that? H1, indeed. How about the Wagon brings technical skills to creative people? H2, yeah, could be. I would go for a P here, really, but H2 would work as well, right? It's kind of a description of the title. Oh, this one is a little bit tricky. Apply now. What are we going for here? Apply now. A tag. Yes, I love the A tag. Indeed, when you click on it, it literally opens a new website. So it looks like a button, and there is a button tag, right? That exists. So I would use the button. Button that could be a possibility if we're not here like building a silly link to another page, right? So this is an A tag probably that is just like opening a page when we click on it. What about discover our campuses?
Yann, I had a question about the apply now button.
Go ahead.
So can you also decide like if you want to open it in the same page or in a new page in a new browser? Like
Absolutely.
these behaviors.
You know what? I don't have it in the slides, but I'm gonna show it when I build the button in there. We're gonna make it so that when I click on it, it actually opens on a new page.
Okay, cool.
I also have a question. For
Go ahead.
header, there's H1, H2, H3. Is there P1, P2, P3?
Good question. Actually not. There's just P. But it's a good question. So while you're at it, what would this one be? What would this one be? Discover our campuses. And H2, yeah, you're absolutely right. Shanghai, London, Paris, probably H3. Learn to code, P, very good. And finally, the footer here on the bottom, another P. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you have all right. That's perfect. Let me now write all of this in our HTML. So let's go for it. Banner section. So you see that in the boilerplate, I have some comments. So this is like when you see these like signs before and after, these are comments of the code. So they're not taken into account whenever this code is executed, right? So they are in green in VS Code, so you can ignore them. But we're gonna use them to know where to put like the banner section, the card section, the footer section. So for the banner section, I remember that you told me that we had an H1. We are on VS Code. There's a super cool thing in VS Code. If you don't have it, just let me know and I'm gonna show you how to actually have it. If you write H1 and you press on the tab key on your keyboard, you get an H1, right? So H1 plus tab gives you an H1 element. There you go. And that's really, really wonderful. I'm using it all the time. So first H1, we've changed your life, learn to code. I have a P and tab, same thing, right? A P tag with the Wagon brings technical skills to creative people. All right, we have, as you said, an A tag. I'm gonna do the same thing, A tab. Nice. See, it's giving me the href as well. Amazing. Gonna write, gonna copy paste the wagon.com link in there. The content of our href of our A tag should be apply now, right? And as was it you again that was asking the question? In order to, like, when you click on your A tag, in order to make it not open on the same page of your website but on a new tab, we'll be able to do that by adding a new attribute called target equal underscore blank, and the underscore is mandatory. Be careful about that. So this is making sure that our link, when you click on it, opens a new tab. Very well. So in terms of card section, we have, we said a, oh gosh, there we go, an H2, right? We've discovered our campuses inside. We have an H3 with the different campuses. So because we're Tokyo, we're gonna change Shanghai into Tokyo, right? And I'm gonna take the text here and change again Shanghai into Tokyo. It's kind of like, oh, I totally forgot. There is an image before Shanghai here. So before our H3 here, we need an IMG tag. IMG and tab is giving me those two here. So alternative text, I'm gonna go for Tokyo Bootcamp. And for the source, I'm gonna get an image that I have inside my boilerplate. So remember, I had an image folder in there. Inside, I have Tokyo, Paris, and London, and the background.jpg that we're gonna use later. So here, I'm gonna, like, I am inside index.html, right? So in the landing page folder, I'm going to open the images folder, right? Let's see how VS Code is helping us here. Images folder, and inside the images folder, I'm gonna access to tokyo.jpg. Nice. I'm gonna do that for Tokyo, and I'm gonna do that for London and for Paris. Okay, here I'm using
sorry, how did you select all the Parises together?
right? Yeah, I know. That's very magical. So command plus D.
Yeah.
D so how do we do that? Command plus D, then press D multiple times. Will, like, select all similar occurrences of your selection. So let me try to, like, re-explain that. I'm gonna like wrap all my code here so that you can see everything. So I selected Tokyo, right? Then I do Command D, it selects the next Tokyo. If I do Command D again, it selects again the next Tokyo, and Command D again, it selects the last Tokyo, and so on and so forth. So the thing is that when I change Tokyo to Osaka, for example, the cool thing is that it's changing my, like, see that Osaka is still keeping the lowercase and uppercase wherever I had lowercase and uppercase with Tokyo. And I'm doing that with a very special extension of VS Code that I have in there. If you are interested in it, I would, like, send it to you, but really that's maybe a little bit too far for this like workshop. But if you want it, really, I can send it in the Slack as well. Just let me know. On the bottom, I have in the footer a P tag with web made with love at the Wagon.
Another question. So we can also put emojis inside the code text.
Very good, very good question, Tamara. So yes, answer is yes. And I'm gonna, like, actually showcase it in here. So okay, oh wow, I need to give you the so control plus command plus space, but that's just for Mac. For Windows, it's a little bit more complex. So that will open the emoji box. So if you do Control, Command, and space, it will open this like box here, and you'll be able to like add an emoji to like into your code. And if actually I come back to my code here and I refresh my page, I'll be able to see the emoji just here. So emojis are working indeed in HTML, and that's working thanks to the Meta Carset UTF-8 here. I do think that the browser will be like smart enough to recognize it, but let's give it a try, get rid of Meta Carset here. And yeah, it's still smart enough to recognize that this is an emoji. But back in the days, you would not have like understood that. And this is the website that we get. So on this website, there's a lot of so first of all, let's be honest with each other. It's very lame, right? It's quite lame. It's not beautiful at all. Like there's like, come on, it's like probably the worst websites we've been like doing at the Wagon so far. But there's some good stuff as well. As you can see, the big title is like the H1 is the biggest title. The paragraph looks like a paragraph. The apply now, when I click on it, it's opening a new tab as expected with the wagon.com. So it's a real link. It's also underlined, which is not very beautiful, but that's what it is. And we have like the different H2s here that are slightly bigger than the text below it. So big, like long story short, what's going on here? The browser already understands what we want to do with our HTML in there, like what are the title, what are the paragraph, and so on and so forth, and already like gives a by default style to them. So the H1 is slightly bigger. Again, the A tag is underlined with a different colors and so on and so forth. So we already have a style by default. Sometimes it's good. We like to have the title to be a big title. Sometimes it's bad. Like the apply now, like I don't really like the underline here. We'll have to get rid of it. Okay, but we already have something and we have all the content. The truth is, if you go to a very well-designed website, can you give me like a, you know, like the URL of a very well-designed website? What is your favorite website on the internet?
Airbnb.
Airbnb, I love it too.
I was about to say japanproductcamp.com. No, I'm
Oh,
joking.
we can go for it as well. Japan. So is there hyphens?
No, but I think Airbnb is definitely much better designed.
Okay, we're gonna see the other one a bit later, but let's go for your Airbnb. Look at this website. Well done, Airbnb. Like very beautiful with like everything that is like very colorful and all. Ryokan. Did you see that before? That's amazing, right? Now let's inspect the website and let's see what's going on if I remove the head. So what you need to know is that all the style of its websites is contained into CSS files, right? The CSS files are connected to the HTML file in the head. We're gonna see that in 1 minute. So if I remove the head, if I cut the head, that's a very French thing of like French thing to do. I will literally cut the connection with the CSS file. So everything that we will see will be actually just the HTML. And this is what Airbnb, oh, that's not that interesting actually. Wait, Airbnb is not that interesting. Let's go for apple.com. We should have gone for what is that? Oh, that's amazing.
New iPhone coming out tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Oh, shoot.
iPhone, Apple Watch.
iPhone, what is it, 14?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, like arguably this website is quite well done. if I cut the head this time, finally, this is what we get.
Wow.
Seriously, is it better than our website? I'm not sure. I like our website a little bit better. It's a little bit clearer. But look at that. It's exactly the same thing, right? What I wanted to show you here is that we are in the right direction. What we're doing so far is great. It's actually the web standard. It's look lame, but it's like the standard in terms of HTML. What we are missing though is the CSS. And that's coming just right now. So you all understood that like the CSS is here for us to have to put some style on our web page, to go from like this kind of like very nice, beautiful web page to that amazingly beautiful website that apple.com is, right? And we're gonna talk about that together right now. I told you already that like the CSS, this design is done inside a different file from the HTML, which is the CSS file. And this CSS file is, in our case, very next to our index.html. It's here, style.css. I also told you that in order for a CSS file, like some style in the CSS file to be connected to our index.html, we will need a link in the head of our index.html, a link with an href to the style.css and a rel, like basically telling that this link is a link to a style sheet. So I do think that in our boilerplate, yes, look at that. We already have it here. Link, rel, style sheet, href, style.css, connecting to our style.css file where there's nothing inside so far. So as soon as you have this connection here, whatever style that is configured, that is written inside a style.css will be applied to your HTML. In this case, it means that every of your H1 tags will have the text color being red. Okay, and you know what? I'm gonna try it like right away here to like really showcase what that means. I'm gonna go for my H2 in my case. I'm gonna give a color. Give me a color.
Purple.
Purple. Okay, so we're gonna go for a purple in there. Great. If I refresh my page now, every single H2, and I think I just have one, unfortunately, I'm gonna go for the H3. Here we go. Every single H3 here, Tokyo, London, Paris are purple. Okay, so this is how the style sheet will work here. In other words, we will have a lot of this kind of syntax here in our CSS. So we have a selector, which is basically on which HTML element we want this style to be applied, and a bunch of styling. Color red will make the text getting a color red. Font size 24, we change the size of the font of the text to 24 pixels. These are two of the very, very many styles that we can have in a CSS. And in the 5 next minutes, I'm gonna like basically I'm gonna go through a lot of these styles. So hold on, stay with me. And we're gonna use all these styles later on to actually make some good things inside our website. First, one kind of like designer, kind of designer tip for non-designer, I would say, when you start a website, always start with colors and fonts. Basically, these are the most like the signature parts of your website. And for the colors, like don't go with too many colors. Go with like one signature color, a secondary, a tertiary color maybe, but not much more than that. And besides those very signature colors, these colors that are representing your brands, you probably had this kind of talk in the last days as well. Go for a level of gray. So what I'm gonna teach you today will be to have the signature colors and to have a good use of like levels of gray, scales of gray for our website. So how to put some colors on a website? You already know that you can name the color by its name, just like color red, right? There's also a background color, yellow, for example. If you want to put a background color on your H2, and that works pretty well as well. Gonna like give it as an example for my H3. See, oh my God, it's absolutely terrible color-wise, but that's possible, right? There are other ways to actually write colors on our CSS. The first one is this weird hash plus some numbers and letters afterwards. That is called a hexadecimal code. So this hexadecimal code here represents the same orange color as this orange text in there. And most of the time, you're not writing them. You're actually copy pasting them from the web, because there's so many websites on the web. For example, Coolor, the Coolor websites or Color Hunts websites that are like giving you like a bunch of colors. Let's look at Color Hunts for you to just copy paste them into your own code here, right? I'm gonna use this color this time for my background color, because like yellow is really awful. All right, and if you do that, you get the color like here as a background color in your code. So it's a very, like, those websites are very nice to like find nice color that are complementary, working well together. I sent you on Slack again a bunch of other websites that help you like find the right color. Two other ways to write colors on your website are RGB and RGBA. So RGB stands for what? What do you think? Well, it's red, green, and blue. These are like basically the ratio of red, green, and blue that you will have in your color. 255 is the biggest, is 100%. 0 is 0%, obviously. And for this orange that we have here, it's basically like 100% of red, a bit of green, and really almost no blue that will give us this green tone here. RGB is kind of the same, but it has one more number at the end, which represents the opacity of your color. 0 is transparent, 1 is opaque, 0.5 is semi-transparent, basically. That's for the color, the signature color. For the grayscale, there is a very, very easy way in HTML and CSS to get some gray colors. It's basically having an RGB with 3 times the same color. 3 times 0 is black, pitch black. 3 times 255 is pitch white. I know if it's an actual English word, but that's the idea. And 30, 30, 30 is very dark gray. 230, 230, 230 is very light gray in there. I think you got the gist of it. Very easy to get some grayscales, gray colors on a CSS file. All right, that was for colors. I told you that also one of the second like basic foundation of style on a website is the text. And there's so many things we can do with some text, like to change the text on a website. Obviously, the first thing is to find a font family, can be Times New Roman or Arial, right? Which are like serif and sans serif fonts in there, right? Courier and so on and so forth. We're gonna see in 1 minute how to find like the right font for your website. For this font, we'll be able to fix the size of it, right? 30 pixels to 24 pixels, just like we saw before, and so on and so forth. The line heights, which is the space between each line in a paragraph, and even the letter spacing, which is the spacing between each of the letters of your text. A lot of things we can do, and really like that's just scratching the surface of all the different like design things we can do on text. We can have different weight of text. Lighter text, like Apple style with the keyword lighter, for example, but also the number 100, which is lighter, or bold text with the keyword bold, or again, like 900, which is very, very bold. It's actually bolder. Bold is probably 700 in there. You'll see that these numbers, we're gonna find them again whenever we actually like get a font for our website. Coming in 1 minute. For the text, we also have a way to remove, remember this underlining that we have on our A tag. It's called text decoration none. We also are able to put the text in the center with text align center, or justify it, or put it to the left or to the right with text align justify, center, left, and right. And with all of this, I hope that you'll be able to like play enough to have like actually a good start of websites of design for our website. So let's try to do it. Let's give it a go and like jump into it. First thing I see here is that the font so far is very like Times New Roman, right? Which I don't like at all. So I will want to find a nice, actually two nice fonts for my website. The place where I will go for is Google Fonts. Google Fonts, as you can see here, fonts.google.com, is this website that it's kind of like the Amazon of fonts. You can like go and pick for the font that you're interested in. And so today we're gonna like get two fonts for our website, which are Chivo and Overpass. So I'm gonna search for Chivo here, right? And here you go. This is Chivo. Okay, very nice font for title. Usually I'm usually using just two fonts, one for titles, one for paragraphs. I'm trying not to be too like crazy about fonts, like to stay with something that is like simple and nice, right? This one seems to be like pretty neat. I kind of like it. You can see that they are showing me like the regular version of the font with different sizes as well. I can even try it, you know, like we have our title is Change Your Life, Learn to Code, right? How does it look with this font? No. Doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad. I kind of like it. Right. I guess that looking at the example here, they have a bolder version of this font, or a bold version. Oh, here you go. That's the bold version that they have. So we probably get a bold version of this font. I'm gonna press on the plus button here, and maybe a regular version of this font. Plus here. See how it's called, like regular 400, bold 700. That's something that we'll be able to use in the font weight. As well as I want a second font, and I remember that I wanted Overpass, which is that font in there. So this font is the one that I'm going to use probably for my probably for my paragraphs in there, right? So I'm gonna copy paste one of my paragraphs like this one in there to see a little bit how it looks. Very, very nice. The paragraph would be very small, probably like something like that. And we probably just need the regular version of this font. So I'm gonna press plus on the regular. Selected all my fonts. Now, if I go for the view selected families here, I have all the fonts that I am interested in, Chivo and Overpass. I also have the links here that I can copy and paste in my HTML in the head of my HTML here in order to pass the font that I'm interested in. See that they already did it for us here. Actually, it's like kind of the same line as the one that we have on the bottom, but so we're gonna get rid of it and keep the one that we just took right now. And on the bottom of it, they are telling me in the CSS how to use those fonts in my code. I'm trying to zoom here. I cannot, unfortunately, but I think you can still see it pretty well. So I'm gonna take all of this, all these two lines, and I'm gonna paste it inside my CSS. Let me rearrange everything in there. There we go. And we're gonna put that inside our CSS. So what we're gonna say is that for the body, which is everything, remember the body is containing everything that we see on our page, we're gonna like give the Overpass font. Now for our H1, our H2, and our H3, we are going to give the font family Chivo. And this is what we get. So what did I do here exactly? I said that, so for the body we give Overpass. H1, H2, and H3 are parts of the body, right? But as a second line, I kind of overrode this font family with a new font family only for H1, H2, and H3. And as you can see now, I have the paragraph here, which is overpass, and the titles here, they are all typo, basically. And that looks way better than before. Loving it. Okay, cool. So far, so good. Let's give as well a little bit of color. I'm not gonna be too crazy with the color. I'm gonna work on our A tag, the apply now here. Remember that I didn't want the underlining, so I'm gonna give it a text decoration none. And if I refresh my page again, now I don't have the underlining. And I'm gonna give it a color that looks like this color here. So the text is definitely a color white, right? And as for the like the surrounding of the button, I would want to get this color here that they are using. In order to do so, I will introduce you a last color tool that is really, really cool, which is called ColorZilla. ColorZilla is a Chrome extension, but not only. Actually, there's a colorzilla.com here. It's an extension for Chrome and Firefox, which is this small one that I have here on the top that will make you pick colors on a website. And when you click on them, it will give you the hexadecimal code of this color, basically. So I'm gonna use this ColorZilla that I already installed on the Wagon web page here in order to get the color of the Wagon button, and I'm gonna like use it as a background color here of my apply now. If I do so now, the apply now, it's not beautiful, like not yet, but the color is actually right. By the way, while we are at it, I'm gonna add a very special thing to this button, which is what we call a pseudo class. I will like write a piece of CSS, as you can see here, that is saying that whenever I hover over my A tag or any A tag for the matter here, the background color of this A tag will change to something that is a little bit more dark. Now, if I refresh my page and I hover over my apply now, it's getting a little bit darker. Furthermore, if I put a small transition of 1 second on this hover, whenever I hover over the button, you have a beautiful transition on this button. That's my hover. All right, so that's a small example of adding some colors on our website. Very good. So far, so good. I'm gonna check the chats very quick to see if everything is fine. Time away for a great. Oh, nice. Yeah, that would be really, really great to revamp the JPC website. Rank green blue indeed. Can't believe this website is free, right? There's so many free good stuff on the internet. Google extensions are amazing indeed. Yes, we have, by the way, at the Wagon a workshop sometimes that we do of how to build a Chrome extension. It involves JavaScript though. Could you show the code again? Absolutely. I'm going to show it over and over again. I use the code too. Thanks. Yes. So you'll have the code. I'm going to show you the code over and over again. You also can like have a look at the instructions here in the U-turn section. You can follow along as well. You'll have a bunch of like part of this code, CSS basics, like everything is in there as well. But obviously, I'm going to show you the code, and I'm going to like send it to you on Slack at the end of the workshop as well. All right, cool. So what were we at so far? Yeah, okay. We have our website. We have some colors, some text. It's a little bit less lame than before, but we're not there yet, right? Like looking at what we have here, we're missing 1 or 2 things. One of the things that I see that is definitely missing is that if you look at wagon.com, this website is not like there are like, you know, change your life lunch code on the left, a photo on the right. You have a difference between this section and that section. You have some cards in there. You have like things next to each other and so on and so forth. Here, a kind of grid as well. So it's not linear. It's not like vertically linear. Whereas our website is super duper linear. Everything is below each other. So we are missing here on our websites, and it's actually more an HTML thing. We're missing a very like basic fundamental principle concept for our HTML, which is the concept of boxes. We don't have like boxes, just like you can see, like, you know, this card here being a box, those two like walls being a box, these 4 sections here being box, like four boxes that are inside a box, and so on and so forth. We're missing this concept. Everything is not really well tidied. This concept of box is what we're going to build with the div HTML element. So again, the idea is that in the real world, websites are full of boxes. You have an up bar, you have a box for all the cards of the Airbnb, you have the map that is another box. In the cards, you have one box per card, and so on and so forth. And to build these cards, we are usually using divs. The cool thing, if we use div in order to, like, you know, boxify your HTML, is that you'll be able to put some very well done, very interesting style on these divs. So typically, you'll be able to define the width and the heights of these boxes. Okay, so far so good. Which is like pretty nice to like arrange your website, right? You'll also be able to add some margin and some padding. So margin is the space between the box that you're talking about and the box that is next to it, right? So between the box and the box that is next to it. Whereas padding is the space between the edge of the box and the contents, the text, for example, that you have inside the box. Also, if you have just one value in your margin, 30 pixel, you will have this 30 pixel space, top, bottom, left, and right. If you have 2 values, the first value will be for top and bottom. The second value will be for left and right. You can also have 4 values. In that case, you would have a value for every single, a customized value for every single of the edges of your box. For margin and padding, it works for both. On the box, you can also have a border, right? Just like this one. So to define a border, you will give it a thickness, 1 pixel here. The type of border, solid, it could be dotted, and you would have like dots for the border, and a color for the border. You can also have a border radius, which is pretty nice, you know, giving a nice, like, smooth touch to your cards, for example. Here we have a border radius of 5 pixels. Usually we don't go very, very high for the border radius, unless you want the box to be fully round. If you want the box to be fully round to, like, have an avatar, for example, you will go for a border radius 50%. You can have a box shadow, right? So offset of the shadow left, right, which is the first value, top, bottom, second value, the spread of the shadow, the third value, and the color of the shadow as a fourth value. And so on and so forth. There's so many things that we can do on boxes. I'm going to showcase 1 or 2 things, really, but it's really just, again, scratching the surface. I will tell you as much as possible for you to have a beautiful and trustable and clean web page at the end of this workshop. So first thing that I want to do is to put my box around my content. So my banner section will definitely be inside a box. I'm going to write a div. I'm going to open it, and I'm going to take all of these and put them inside. And here you will be, oh my God, Yann, how did you just move your code inside your file? Yes, it's another shortcut, which is, what did I do here? Wait, there you go. Yes, Option plus key up or down. I do think that for Mac users, it's out. No, for PC users, sorry, it's out and key up and down. And this is move line of codes up, down. There you go. That's my first box. Okay, like it very much. I'll need a second box. My second box will like contain all this, all the section, discover our campus and all in there. So I'm gonna take them all and put them inside in here. Perfect. A third box that will contain like all the cards. Why not, right? Let's redivide everything here. Very, very nice. Love it. And a fourth box that will contain my footer. So I won't tell you now, but I'm gonna put the footer inside a box in a box for a very specific reason that I'm going to unveil a little bit later. So as you can see now, I have everything in boxes. And if I refresh my page, what do you think will happen? Any idea? I am checking the chat. Well, if you were thinking nothing, you're absolutely right, and you got the first one of the most important principle here. The HTML is not changing the style, right? The CSS is. So we just added some divs. It didn't change anything in the style. It didn't change anything on our page. But if we look at the HTML of our page now, see how well tidied it is now. I'm gonna like, sorry, not here. Gonna like unzoom on my page in there. Okay, see how well tidied it is now. We have a div here that represents a banner. We have a div in there that represents all the cards. If I open them, there is another div. And oh, I didn't put one div per card. Bravo, Yann. Totally forgot this. Here we go. One card, one div. Here we go. All right, let me refresh that. So now we have inside our div here, 1, 2, 3 cards that are really like differentiated. So that if I select one card, I'll be able to, and look at that. I didn't tell you about this, but it's really cool. You can actually add some style directly inside the browser to test out basically your style. So for this div that I have in the middle here, I will be now able to add some like, for example, margin 0 auto that is not doing anything because I need a width also. So I can give a width to my card, right? So now my card is, I give a bit more width, 600. Now my card is like 600 pixel wide. So you can see the blue part of my card. Margin 0 auto is making this card, as long as you have a width, margin 0 auto put the card in the middle, just like that, right? I can give a border, for example, to my card so that we can see it well or better. Actually, instead of a border, I'm gonna give a box shadow to showcase a bit the box shadow. So a box shadow of like 0 pixel for the the offset vertical and horizontal, but 16 pixel for the spreads. And as for the color, I'm gonna go for a RGB that is like black, but like semi-transparent, basically. Okay, and this is what we get. It's very far from being perfect, but what I wanted to showcase here is that I could actually put a style on one of these cards here because it is inside a div. And I'll be able to like create my cards little by little, just like we have them here. Now, be careful. If you write some CSS here and you're not copying and pasting it in your style.css, that you can do, right? If you refresh the page, it disappears. So be very careful about that. Be aware of it. All right, we have all our divs, right? But there's something that we are missing here. The thing is that if you look at the divs, back to the HTML, there is one div for the banner, and there is a div for each card. Now, in the final results, the banner style and the card style are extremely different, right? If I go for my style.css and I put a div like a style for my div here with color red, it will literally like put color red every single where, because I have divs everywhere, and I'll not be able to have a very special color of text for my banner and a color of text for my card. So I need one last concept for like me to have customized style for my banner and for my cards. And these last concepts are IDs and class. It's a very easy concept. It's basically what we talked about. The idea is that sometimes you need to have, for example, an image with a like a certain style, let's say width 100 pixels just for this image, but you don't want to have this style for all the other image of your code. Again, if you write this in your style.css, it's gonna change the width of every single IMG tag. There's one, but also there's 4 others. In order to solve this problem, we are going to use an ID. We're gonna put an ID on our IMG tag that we want to change. And in the style, we're not gonna put IMG, we're gonna put hash and logo, which is the name of the ID for our image here. And this style will be applied only to this image. So this works well. The ID works well when you have a special style only for one image or one element of your page. If conversely, you will want to give a style for all the images on the bottom here, but not the one that we have on the top, we are going to use class, because class, we can reuse them. Class equal img circle on this image, that image, that image, and that image, so that if we have a .img circle class in our style.css, it's gonna make a different style for those 4 images, but not for the one that doesn't have a class. These are IDs and classes, the 2 concepts that help us like have customized style on our web page. So again, ID, we can use it only one time, so it's for a unique adjustment of the style of your page. And classes, the one that we use most of the time, are here for reuse, like as a reusable design of our page that we can use over and over on our page on different pages as well. All right. Before we jump into adding IDs and class and finishing our website, I will want to talk to you about the naming convention for classes. Usually what we do is that in order for us to understand where a class is applied and what style is linked to this class, we are having this convention, elements-design. Like text, center, for example, have like a bunch of other examples, button, red, list, inline, IMG, circle, and so on and so forth. That are all telling a story, right? Text center is a class that we apply on a text, a P tag, for example, a paragraph, and it's centering the paragraph. Button red on the button, and it's making the button red, list inline, and so on and so forth. I think it's quite understandable here. The good thing is that if you create a button red, right, and in a next future, let's say a week later, you want to create another red button, well, it will be very easy for you to like figure out what class that is already built that you can reuse you need to add to your button. But that's a lot of talk. Let's like jump into the demo and let's add some banner, button blue, card white, container, footer on our like classes on our design, and let's try to design them all. All right, let's do it. So first thing first, I put the classes. So my first class will be here on the div class banner. Okay, on the A tag here, I'm gonna have a class button red. No, wait, it was a button blue, right? Probably more a blue one. I will have a class container in here around my Discover campus and so on and so forth. And this class container is very special. It actually is the class that is giving you the space between Discover our campus here and the left and the right of your website. See, there's a space left and right. This is what the container is giving us. The cool thing is that, as you can see in the footer here, there is the same space left and right. So we're gonna reuse this container class for the footer to have the space left and right. It will work really, really great. Okay, what else do we have? We have this div. Actually, I think I actually don't need it yet. And I have 1, 2, 3 cards. I'm gonna give to these 3 cards 3 times a class card, actually card weight. And you'll be like, hey, Yann, how the heck did you actually write in 3 places at the same time? Yes, good question. Let me give you another shortcut. It's Option plus click. Option plus click give you the power of multi-selection, of multi-cursor, actually. So if I go here, there's a cursor here, right? If I press Option and go here, I have a second cursor. I can add 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, wherever you want. And then if I write something, it's literally writing everywhere that I have the cursor. And as you can see, it's very, very powerful. Cardword. I told you that we had a class footer for the footer. And inside this class footer, I will have another container so that my web made with love at JPC is actually like having the space here on the left as well. Very nice. After I put all my classes on my website, unfortunately, again, nothing happens, right? I didn't write any code yet. Before we jump on the code, what I'm going to do, no, we're gonna jump on the code, really. Absolutely. So let's jump on the code and let's start with the banner. So before here, we were doing fonts and color, right? Here we go. And now we are starting some customized style. Here we go. So to put some style on my banner class, I need a dot banner. Dot banner, and the first thing I will give to my banner is actually a background image. I have a background, an image for the background here of my banner. So I'm gonna give a background image. And in order to give the path to this image, I will use a URL function, just like that. And inside this URL function, I'm going to refer to my background.jpg image. It's inside the images folder, and it's called background.jpg. Just like that. Now, if I refresh my page, it's very awful, as you can see, but my background image is here. By the way, you see that the banner is not reaching the edge of my website. It is because by default, the body has a margin. So you want to give a margin 0 to your body to get rid of it. Perfect. Now, question is, why do you have some white space on the top here? I actually have no idea.
Is the margin default that you just changed to 0? What's the default when there's nothing typed?
I think it's 16 pixels. I can check that very quick if you don't mind. So to do so, I'm gonna look at the body, and the body. No, it's 8. 8, 8, 8, 8.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry.
No problem. Good question. Good question. Okay, margin 0. It's a very tricky one, really. And the thing is that See, I still have some space on the top here. The problem here of this top space is because the H1, H2, and H3 also have a margin by default. Those terrible people. So I need to give a margin 0 here to actually have the banner finally fitting to the top here. Obviously, I will need some like color white to my banner to see a little bit what is going on. Very well. And for the rest of the style, I'm not going to write it down here. I'm going to do what actually people that write CSS do in real life. I'm going to use the developer tool. So remember, press inspect here and I have this developer tool. Select the banner. Here is my code for the banner. And I'm going to like put the style that I'm interested in for my banner just here. So typically text align center. Nice. See how you have like a direct feedback of what you're doing on your website. Text align center. I'm gonna give some padding. Top bottom, something big like 80 pixels, or even more, 120. Crazy person. And left right 0 pixels because like we have the text center anyway. Okay, they're not too bad, isn't it? Yeah, I'm actually not. Okay, here, perfect. Very nice. I love that very well. Maybe a bit of margin bottom, which will put some space on the bottom of my banner here. So like something like 64 pixels so that it pushes nice everything that is below it. Yep, kind of like it. So I'm gonna select all of this, copy. I'm gonna paste it here. Very well, and refresh my page, and I have my banner. Gonna do the same job for the button blue. So I have the button blue here. It's not there yet because I didn't write the CSS. So if you have the class, you just need to click on the plus here actually, and it's giving you the button blue. Definitely we need a bit of space between the text apply now and the edge of our button. So padding, top bottom, something like, let's say 16 pixels. You might realize that I'm using a multiple of 8s. It's a rule from Google to have like nice spacing, like always taking a multiple of 8s, and I really, really love this rule. 16 pixel top bottom, left, right, 24 pixels, nice button. I definitely want to have some border radius because like the edge of my button are very, very edgy so far. 4 pixels, loving it very well. You see that this button is very close to the text. The reason is that the A tag here doesn't see how it's like kind of like not respecting the space around the P tag. A tags are not very good at spacing. In order for them to behave, you need to give them, and I'm very sorry, it's like very random, but we need to give them a display inline block. And now it looks a little bit better. Okay, kind of like this button. Ooh, getting dark here. Nice. We could give a bit of, because we are fancy, a bit of box shadow on this button. So 0 and 0 for the offsets, 16 pixels for the spread. Look at that, nice. And RGBA, this one like a white color, 250, 250, 250. But that I would turn into like semi-transparent. Something like that. I don't know whether it's actually beautiful or not. But at least when like, see, it's a nice design because we don't see it very much, but when we hover over the button and it becomes really, really dark, we still see it. And I kind of like that. Beautiful design, a design that we don't actually see, but that makes the difference. And I'm gonna copy and paste that below here. You can keep the A or not. It's totally fine to not have it as well. And because this is our blue button here, I'm gonna rob the color that we had in the A tags. We don't want this color for every A tag. We want it just for our button blue. And I'm gonna put it in our button blue. It's not gonna change anything, but now we have all the button blue color inside this button blue style here. Let's continue. The container is a very special, like we're gonna do it as well here. It's a very special element, as I told you, that is as for job only to put actually space left and right of our cards here. So to do so, we need to define a width to our container. We're gonna go for 700 pixels. How big is that? Yeah, maybe a little bit more like 800. And so the blue part is a container now. And we're gonna give it a margin 0, top bottom 0, no margin top bottom, and auto, which will kind of like give an automatic same margin on the left and the right of our container. So now the container is really like in the middle. And because we're using this container as well for the footer here, you can see that the footer is also now like well centered in the middle of our page. This is our container. Container always has like these two styles. Let's go for the most interesting part, I think, which is the card white. So for this card white, obviously, we'll need some background color white, right? For this white to be seen, I'm gonna give a bit of box shadow, 16 pixels. Here we have the box shadow, which is very strong. So we're gonna like use a black color that is like very like subtle, 0.3, almost transparent. I am going to, I'm gonna show you everything here, okay? I am going to reduce the size of this card white. No, sorry, reduce the like the edge of the card white with border radius 4 pixels. Very nice. The text is way too close to the edge of the card, so I'm going to give some padding, 16 pixels, another multiple of 8. And now as you can see, the cards are like very too close to each other. So I'm gonna give a margin bottom here of 16 pixels as well. I love 16 pixels. A lot of developers really love 16 pixels as well. Cool. So that's very nice. I'm gonna get all of this. And I have my card here. Now there's one like thing that is a bit sad in the card. There's several things actually. The image here doesn't take like the full width of the card. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like talk about the card white. I'm gonna put a space and look at the image inside the card white. And this is the right way to write it with CSS. And for this image, I'm going to tell that it should take a width of 100%. If I do that, now the image is taking the whole width of the card. It's also like a little bit too big now, like making the card very big. So I'm gonna give a defined height to this image as well to reduce a bit the size of my card, maybe at 300 pixels. All right, as you can see, now, obviously, because we are not giving the right ratio for our image, it's all like compressed. So we're gonna need to add a last style for our card, our image, which is object fit cover, which will keep the ratio of our image by showing like part of the image, actually, as we can see here. All right, not too bad. Like maybe the spacing of our H3 and our P here are not very great. So what I can do is like work a little bit on our card white P tag and remove the margin around this P tag. How does that look? Not too bad. And yeah, I could actually, yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I can give a bit of margin bottom to finish like on the bottom of the image so that it's like the text, yeah, take some space. Yeah, it's not too bad. Love it, love it, love it. Last but not least, we talked about a footer. For the footer, I'm gonna be quick. I'm going to give a footer this gray color that I will select with my color picker. Pick a color. I got it. Is it the gray color? It's maybe not the right one. Trying it again. Sometimes this color picker has some weird behavior. I want this gray. Where are you? Is it because I'm not 100%? Oh yeah, was better. Nope. Doing it last time, and then I just give up. Oh, come on. Why is it taking all the colors but not this gray? Okay, is that the gray? Not sure about it. Well, if you ever have this kind of problems, what you can definitely do is inspect, right? You can use this small button here that makes you expect a very special part of the card of the website, and click on the footer, and here you see the picture, the color that they use for the background. So yeah, you can literally cheat. I mean, we could have like literally copy pasted everything that we had in this example and get it for our website. But obviously, our goal is to learn how to build our website, so it wouldn't have helped so much. Gonna go for a background color with this color, very nice. And I'm gonna give a bit of padding to all of this. So top bottom, a big padding, 80 pixels. I think that's a little bit too much. I'm gonna go for 60, 64, or even just like 40. Very nice. And left, right, 0 pixels. As for the color, I'm gonna go for something white. Very nice. And why not having some font size, 24 pixels? By default, 24 is a lot. By default, 16 is the font size of paragraphs, right? Unfortunately, yeah, 24 is a bit a lot. We're gonna just like don't put any font size, I guess. Here we go. Getting this footer, putting it in there, refreshing my page, and very nice. And now we have something. We have a website. This Discover Our Campus is a little bit too close to the rest of. So I'm gonna go for like the card whites. I'm gonna give a margin top bottom of 16 and left right of 0. There we go. Cool. So we're ending up with a website that is like almost very close to what we wanted, right? With some like little details that we could like improve. But one of the big things that we don't have and that they have is the fact that our cards are next one below, like vertically aligned, whereas theirs are horizontally aligned. So this is the last piece of style that I want to showcase in front of you. The idea is to say, we did already a lot of cool things and it works pretty well. We did like the HTML, the content of our page, and it's great. We did the CSS and it's beautiful, really. We created our boxes and we define our boxes so that our website has a very defined banner, a very defined area with the cards, a very defined area with the footer, and so on and so forth. So the last thing that we didn't do yet is to actually arrange all these boxes for them to be at the right place. By default, most of them are already at the right place, but the 3 cards that we have here are one below each other, which is not what we want. We want them to be one next to the other, just like that. To do so, we will need the last concept that I want to share with you today, which is CSS grids. So a grid that will enable us to arrange our cards or any style, any part of your website, the way you want to arrange it. Okay, so to do so, I am going to add one more class around every single of my cards here on this div that is containing, as you can see here, it's containing all my cards that I will call, it's a class that I will call cards with an S. On this class, I'm gonna play directly inside the Chrome here. On this class, where is it? Container, I have the cards here, very well. I am going to give a style that is display grid. The display grid style will set up the grid. It will not change anything, as you can see. It will just tell that, hey, everything that is inside this class card, hence those 3 cards here, will be now inside a grid. On the top of this grid, I'm gonna give another style which will tell how we arrange the cards inside the grid. It will be grid, template, colors. As you can see, there's so many different grid templates, right? The one I will want to use is grid template colors, because I will want to define that for my cards, I will have like the cards like being arranged into 3 colors, a grid of 3 colors. To define my 3 columns, I'm going to use 1 FR, 1 fraction, 1 fraction, 1 fraction. I'm gonna zoom again on my website. So as you can see, here I'm basically saying my grid, hey, you have 3 cards. There should be 1 next to the other because the grid has 3 columns. If I were saying, hey, the grid has just 2 columns, this is what would happen here. So it has 2 columns. I have 3 cards. The 2 first go to like on the first first position of their columns, and the third one goes on the second position of the first column. That's how this 1 FR, 1 FR, and 1 FR works. By the way, why 1 FR? Well, you can change it into 2 FR, which will make the column that you're giving a 2 being twice as big as the other ones. See how powerful this CSS grid is? On the top of that, as you can see so far, the cards are very close to each other. You can give actually a gap between your cards of 16 pixels that will make a space between each of the cards of your grid. And here you go. You have now your grid of cards. Just here. You can even give to the grids a bit of margin, right, to push it away from the other things of your design. So margin top bottom 24 pixels, left and right 0. We don't need left and right margin, and this is what we get. I can take this code here, paste it on my style.css, and now I have a website by resume that is extremely close to what we wanted to have. So what are the concepts that we talked about today? We started by building the HTML with the content. We added some style, especially fonts and color first, right? We added some div to make boxes everywhere on our style, and we basically customize our boxes with class and IDs. And we finally gave the final touch with the CSS grid, which was about how to arrange the different boxes within our website. And the slides here are really just going through the cards display grid that we've been doing together. So using grid gap, by the way, but gap works pretty well as well. All right. That being said, I worked very hard to make this beautiful website here. Now it will be your turn. So your mission, if you accept it, will be to follow the U-turn section of this of our Learn platform and go through every single of the steps of this U-turn. So you have the number 2, which is building the HTML, font and color, as we did number 3, div number 4, 5 is finishing the CSS, 6 CSS grids that I just did right now, and 7 and 8 2 optional exercises, which are responsive design. So how to make your websites like visible, like well displayed on a typically on a laptop like this, or on a mobile phone. So if I go for something that is like an iPad, for example, right, which is actually the same size. So having the cars like showing differently in there, right? Versus in here. And finally, publishing your websites on GitHub so that in the end, you'll be able to, so in the end of this link here, you'll be able to send your website to us. So a last part is like telling you to like get the website and sending it, submitting it in there. So instead of doing that, just send it on Slack and I'll be able to give you some feedback about it as well. All right, so I'm going to check very quick the chat to see if you have any last question about all this content. And oh, I do have. Can we set a different margin for H1, H2, H3, but keep the font size and everything the same? Absolutely. Like literally. That's what we do. Like if you change the margin of the H1, H2 here, it will not change anything to the font size. Do we do hierarchy of code? So the CSS like space or tab. Do you mean like this? Indentation.
Yeah,
go ahead.
indentation.
Right. Indentation is extremely important for the code to be readable. And the one I showcased today is the one that you will want to go for. So in the CSS, you usually have just like everything that is inside the curly brackets that is indented like this. In the HTML, everything that is nested inside an HTML element has to be indented to the left or to the right. To the right, sorry. By the way, in order to indent, press tab and tab indent to the left, to the right, and shift tab indent to the left. I'm pretty sure you have other questions. Shoot them. Don't hesitate. How often do you use Chago or Overpass? Never. Sorry, I do it mostly for this workshop really, but I'm usually spending hours on like Google Fonts or other like font places to find some nice fonts.
Do you have an example of a hosted website that you have made?
Yeah, so I am like I have my portfolio.
Ooh.
But it's a bit JavaScript heavy. but all these like all the different like cards that you have here, they are in a CSS grid, just like you did. So there are some fancy things, that's for sure, but in the end, it's kind of the same, like the same basics. Yeah, and for this story, like every single of the cubes that you see here are events that are happening in Tokyo. So I have an introduction to React.js that I'm doing tomorrow as well. The torus here is the amount of commits I've done today, so only 3 today. And the round ones are the hour in the location I am. So that's it's 9 actually here now. And the flag on the space station that you saw is also the place where I am at the time now. So I'm taking. Grabbing if so like let me finish on that because that's the interesting thing. I think I'm grabbing all this information through APIs and I'm bringing it to my website. And APIs is the exact topic that we're gonna like discover together on Thursday. That's an actual good transition here.
No, this is super cool. Is this like some graphics library or something like?
True. It's a JavaScript graphic library that is called 3JS. So I told you that with JavaScript you could do dynamic things on the web. 3JS is one of the very interesting like graphic libraries that you can use. I'm gonna show you one very quick example here, which is another. It's the portfolio of another person that's even way better than me at that. That is that builds a game actually. Start.
Oh,
Hmm.
His name is Bruno Simon. He's a very creative developer, as you can see.
How long did this take?
I have no idea, but like, oh my god.
Huh.
But well, I guess it's oh, and the car is actually moving here as well.
Wow.
Wow. So well, a lot of things. See, when you fall into the rabbit hole, there's so many things that you can definitely do here.
I think last time or 1 or 2 classes ago, someone told us about maybe it was Annie, midjourney.com, and the website looked pretty cool. And is that also JavaScript?
Oh, I would love to see the website if you can like repost it somewhere.
I think
It's possibly. Oh, Midjourney. Okay. Yeah, like everything that is a little bit. Oh yeah, that's JavaScript. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I thought it was a video, but it's actually it's a real text.
Wow.
Oh, like,
That's
it looks like
crazy.
a tornado. So how would you?
It does, right? Oh my god, it's pretty neat. Yeah.
I think someone mentioned this in one of our classes. Like, you can type text and then it will draw something. Was that this page or was that you, Annie?
It's Shane.
Shane. Yeah, Shane. Shane was telling us about this.
All right, like ASCII art kind of things.
Yeah. I think that's really hot right now. The typing
Yeah.
and the images.
It's pretty neat indeed. Yeah, it's definitely JavaScript going on here. We got some other good questions. Do you use React, Vue, or really mostly HTML and CSS? My portfolio is using Vue. I have some other. So I'm using I'm programming in Vue and React mostly. I'm also using a bit of Svelte, which is kind of the cool new kid in the front end framework world. So what you need to know about all of these is that like obviously when you build a website, and it's much more clear on Facebook, for example. I'm always a bit worried of like opening my Facebook. There's a lot of see, for this website, for example, like there's a lot of things that you reuse, right? Like all these color palettes, like they're all the same and they're reused over and over and over again. Plus, if you like give it a check, well, that's not the case here. Maybe I'm not using any. So like there's in their case, when you click on Pastel, for example, they are loading the page of Pastel. But you could imagine that if you were a little bit more advanced, instead of loading the page with all the Pastel all over again, you could just like use the same boxes, right? The same components, actually, we call them components in front-end frameworks, and just change the color, right? And use JavaScript to do that. That's what React or Vue are doing. So they are like focusing on one page. Like you're not actually refreshing, you're not going from pages to pages, they're not links. And they're making this page very dynamic with this idea of components, showing one component or another, depending on what you want to show to your user on like on your website. So like they are definitely the next step in terms of front ends, when like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are not sufficient anymore. What is the purpose of class/class name? So are you talking about? Are you talking about the name here?
Oh, no. If you go to HTML,
Yeah.
at the closing tag for the div, you added something beside it.
Oh, this one here?
Yeah. What are
Oh,
those for?
I'm so sorry. It's another extension
Oh, okay.
of yeah, that is
I
showing
thought you
me
typed it there.
yeah, no, it's a good point. It's actually it's automatic, and it's showing me what this div is closing, which
Mm.
is so important because like sometimes you have like like you remove a div or you add a div and you don't remember, and like you're totally lost. It's always good to know where like if you close all your divs and stuff, see how many divs you already have. So it's a quite nice extension. Again, if you're interested in it, I'm not sure you need it at your level, but if you're interested in it, just Slack me and I'm gonna send you the name. Are there any reason why you are using non-Bootstrap for your sites? Good point. So what you need to know first is that Bootstrap is a library that is, it's basically, did you see the CSS that we built together? It was not too big, right? It's like big like this. But thanks to this CSS, we gave a lot of style to our classes, and we could use these classes to style our cards, right? Like 1 card, 2 cards, 3 cards, and so on and so forth. Well, on the web, there are some libraries just like Bootstrap that are providing you with, I'm gonna take it here, I'm gonna show it to you, with a badass, gigantic CSS file. Take some time to beautify it. Like I can actually show you that without doing this. A badass gigantic, this is a CSS file, right? And it's like all compressed and all, but as you can see, there's so many things going on here that we can just like use with the right class names in order to create like very nice, let me search for a button here, for example. But the examples like very nice buttons like that with just some very well chosen classes that Bootstrap, this library here, is defining. So they give it the CSS, you don't need to write it, and we just use classes like that. The question I got was why you're not using Bootstrap. So like, which is simple, right? I mean, it's a way to simplify your website creation. You don't need to do CSS anymore. Why don't you use it for your the UI kit that I have? I have a small, really like teeny tiny UI kit that I'm sharing with our students at the Wagon as well for them to like create cards and stuff like this. The reason why I don't use Bootstrap for these elements is because they are like very easy to do without Bootstrap, especially the navbar here, and they are much more easy to modify by yourself. Our students always want customized stuff, always, and for their website, and they should really. But if they use the Bootstrap navbar, that navbar here, it is nice until a certain point, and it is nice as long as you're like following the Bootstrap guideline. If you want to do something a little bit more customized, like you will have some troubles trying to like twitch Bootstrap style, basically. And that's the big reason why you should not use Bootstrap all the time. It's because it's like sometimes quite hard to customize, and sometimes like just a bit of CSS that you know that you've learned today does the job pretty well. You're welcome. CSS is like Bootstrap is like CSS shortcuts with cost. Indeed, yes. Of course, there's no shortcut without cost. Can we? Okay, wait. RIP Chrome RAM. Yeah, out for the websites probably. Yeah.
That was when you were showing your, I think the games.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, absolutely. Can we control F when coding if we forget where is our code? We can absolutely control or command F depending on so command F on VS Code makes you like search for like the whatever inside one file. You also have command shift F that is making you search into all the files that you have in your project. A lot of shortcuts. All right. Cool. Do you have some last question before I leave it? I leave you with the challenge. Nice. Okay. Okay. All right. So your mission, if you accept it, like make your website, post the URL on our Slack channel, and I'm gonna give you some feedback if you want to. I'm gonna review them as well. If any other question, just write it on the Slack.
Awesome. And I think Wagon does these kind of workshops every week, right? With different kinds of ideas.
That's you're correct. So as I told you, like yes, tomorrow we have a React workshop, which is a little bit like maybe like a bit high level from right now. We also have a bunch of like talks and workshop going on. If only I had a list of everything, but I'm gonna add. I'm gonna ask our super Sasha, which is our great teammate here at the Wagon that is managing the events to post some information about it.
Awesome. Yeah, I studied computer science in university, but I wish that you were my professor, to be honest. It was so hard to learn from like the college kind of environment. Yeah. So thanks a lot. And I didn't realize that you can actually study websites by like you can inspect the code and try to understand how they're doing their CSS or HTML. So I think that's a interesting thing we can check.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy. It can go really crazy because you can also change the website that you see and add some stuff and like be a hacker, you know. So it's like, yeah, be curious. Like I showed you some tools here. Try to use them. Try to see what you can do with it. You're not gonna break anything. You're not gonna break Facebook or the internet. Don't be worried. As long as you don't put your credit card number anywhere, you're fine.
Awesome. But yeah, thank you so much, Yann. That was really
All
good.
right. My pleasure. Thanks for your questions. They were really good.
Awesome. So yeah, I think we'll see Yann again on Thursday for API. So in the meanwhile, hopefully you can start on your website and show us some interesting stuff by Thursday. And looking forward to that. Awesome. All right, then I think we can end the meeting today. Have a great evening, everyone, and see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Take
Thank you so
care.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thursday.
See you on Thursday.